and welcome back to another video, guys. Now that's right, it is my end of the month video. That is right. Today I'm going to be talking about every single movie I watched throughout May 2021 for the first time. So all of these films are brand new watches for me. This is the first time I watched them. I've been rewatching some stuff this month, but my opinion genuinely doesn't change drastically too much. So what I'm going to do here is I'm simply just going to be talking about all the films I watched for the first time throughout May. Now, this has been my busiest month. I watched a lot of films. I think 40 or so. So, I would recommend, if you're going to watch this all, if you're committed to what we got going on here, guys, if you're committed to this, I would suggest going and getting a drink, getting a little something to eat, because this is probably going to end up being like a 40-minute video, especially the way I ramble. So anyway, we're going to jump straight in. The first film I watched in May 2021 was Prairie. Now, this film here, of course, I do have it here somewhere. 1966 it came out, and I love Formula One. I love it. My dad's a huge fan, so I sort of always catch what's going on every weekend it's on. So it was a movie that really stood out to me in my premium collection, where I was like, I really do need to watch that. So I finally put it on, and yeah, I liked it, but I had some problems with it. For a start, this film is too long, in my opinion. I know that this is actually quite a really well-loved movie, and I liked it a lot, but I think I fall in the minority where I definitely think I've seen better rating films. I've seen worse as well, don't get me wrong. But I remember I didn't realise the runtime when I went into it, and about an hour and a half in, there's this huge rating. It's really exciting. It's really well shot. It's great. And then it's sort of like an intermission bit happens. I'm like, you're joking. You're joking, right? And I looked, I was like, oh my God, there's still like another hour to an hour and a half left. The characters are really good in this movie, and the racing is shot so well. It's really great. I also quite like the score in this. I thought that was good. But yeah, the film is just too long. It's just too long. For me, it's a good, not great film. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Then we have Invasion of Astro Monsters. That's right, continuing on with my Godzilla set. This was great. We got to have some monsters come down from outer space to fight Godzilla, and it was a lot of fun. What can I say? You know, it was a good time. These Godzilla films, you got to take them with a pinch of salt. You know, you got to go into them with an open mind. You're watching people in costumes fight. I kind of like it when they get a bit silly. They go a bit too silly at times, as we'll discover in this video. But yeah, it was good fun. I like a lot of the monsters in it. Ghidorah is always fun. You know, Godzilla was cool. Yeah, I'll give this film a 6 out of 10. Then we have Mother. Now, that's right, that Mother. I'm not going to talk about the Jennifer Lawrence Mother. No, we're not doing that one today. Mother is a Bong Joon-ho film, which is in my Bong Joon-ho set. It's the only Bong Joon-ho movie I managed to watch this month, because I now got that set, and I said I was going to watch them all. Don't worry, guys, I am going to get to the others. I'm really excited to watch Mysteries of Murder, particularly. But, yeah, this is the only one I watched this month, but this was great. The lead actress, whose name I don't know, I apologise, but she gave an incredible performance. The film also has one of my favourite opening shots ever of her just dancing in a field. I thought it was wacky, weird, and fun. The tension in this movie was great. I love the story to it, the mystery element, and I love how that story is sort of brought and told to us. It's just really interesting to me. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Bong Joon-ho, I've now seen Parasite, Snowpiercer, and Mother, and all three of them have been incredible. He's easily becoming one of my favourite directors. I'm going to give Mother an 8.5 out of 10. Then we have Mortal Kombat 1995. So after watching the new one and being disappointed by it, sorry, I know there are some people out there who like it. I just did not like that movie. Ryan came around and said, you got to watch the original, because the original is just so much more fun. They don't take it as seriously, and it's one of those movies that's really bad. You'll have a great time with it. And I was like, you know what, let's watch it then. So we put it on. I rented it on Amazon Prime. Since then, I've bought the DVD and HMV for like £2. It was like at the front counter where you can buy it with any other order, because I enjoyed it that much. It was so stupid. It was brilliant. The film didn't take itself seriously at all, which I loved. You know, there are things like characters going to hell to fight, and then you don't see how they get out of hell, but in the next shot, they're just sort of out mooching about again. It's like, not going to explain it? No, don't worry, you don't need to. You don't need to Mortal Kombat. It's, you know, there's nothing particularly that good about this movie, I guess. Like, the fighting is very choppy. The dialogue is bloody awful. The effects are bad. Other than the guy with the 4 arms, he looked awesome because it was mostly animatronics. But it's all kind of done in such a cheesy, kind of way that it's brilliant, and I had a fantastic time with it. Also, the score, the theme tune, sorry, I'll say, which I believe was like done something in the music charts for the first time ever. It actually holds a record. So much fun, so much fun. Mortal Kombat. This film is technically bad, but I'm going to give it a positive score because I had so much fun with it. I'm going to give it a 6. It was really fun. Then we have one of the classic horror zombie films, which really kicked off this whole train of zombie fascination and zombie making. It inspired so many other zombie things, so many zombie TV shows like The Walking Dead, and that is Night of the Living Dead by George Romero. This film here is very fascinating. It has a great history behind it. I've watched a couple of documentaries on it since I watched this movie, and I find it fascinating that we've actually got this movie out in good quality Blu-ray. What do I think of the movie? You know, you got to watch this with a bit of pinch of salt. It's one of George Romero's first. You can tell that, you know, someone who's still coming into his finding his feet, I guess, in the movie industry, and it's really fun. It's really fun. It's interesting because I thought most of these characters would maybe survive, but it wasn't the case. It's really just fun to watch. It's a piece of its time. It's a good bloody time. If you take the film seriously, you're probably not going to enjoy it. It's an old film now, you know, 1968, I think it was, something like that. No, it doesn't have the number on the spine. But yeah, it's something like that, and it's you know, it's good. I'm gonna give it 7.5 out of 10. For when it was made, it was really good. Then we have Ibara, Horror of the Deep. Now, this for me was quite a good Godzilla film because I enjoyed seeing all the Godzilla going to space, all these Astro monsters and stuff. Ghidorah's great. We love Ghidorah. But it was nice to bring it a bit more grounded again. Just put Godzilla against one villain. I thought that was really fun. Ibra was a really cool one as well because he's a water monster. And obviously we know that Godzilla actually works quite well in water. But Godzilla sort of goes between land and, you know, water. Whereas Ibra is like, he's just a water villain. So he really has the upper hand on Godzilla here. So I found that really interesting. The side characters were a bit, but, you know, with more or less any of these monster movies, the human side characters are just, they are what they are. But Ibra was a cool villain. It was different, and actually it's one I'd like to see come to the modern Hollywood blockbusters. You know, whenever we get another Godzilla film, because I think we're getting Kong next, Son of Kong. But whenever we get our another Godzilla solo film to follow up Godzilla vs. Kong, Ibra would be one I'd like to see, a villain I'd like to see him go against. So yeah, Ibra the Deep, I'm going to give a 6.5 to. Then I watched House 3, the horror show. Now, this is a lot of people's least favourite House film. You know, I've slowly been getting through these films. For me, it was my... Do you know what? I actually think I preferred it to the first one. I think the first one was trying to take itself a bit too seriously. Second one's hands down the best because they just don't give a crap. You know, Gramps in that. We love him. But with this movie, it was interesting. I like the concept, I guess, that, you know, this guy's a police officer and he's had to put a man, you know, in the electric chair and kill him. And this guy's sort of coming back to haunt him. I thought that was really fun, really interesting. And I like the horrors that he put him through. It's that cheesy 80s kind of sweet spot horror that I like. And it was good for the most part. I just think the ending sort of fell flat a bit and it kind of bottled it. So yeah, it was good up till the ending, I think. I was actually quite invested in this film, surprisingly, because a lot of people told me it was the worst one. But I guess maybe my opinions on the House franchise is a bit controversial because I wasn't huge on the first one, and as we'll discover, I'm not huge on the fourth one. But 3 was okay. I'll give 3 a 6 out of 10. Then we have Netflix's new animated film. Well, I say Netflix, it is Sony, of course, sorry, that has gone to Netflix. The Mitchells versus the Machines. Wow! Wow! Who thought this would be that good as well? First off, I want to say the animation in this film is gorgeous. It reminded me a lot of Into the Spider-Verse. It wasn't, of course, the freeze frame style, but it had that very unique, very bright, colourful, almost comic booky style to it, which I really liked. All the voice actors did a really good job as well. Now, something that was really interesting to me with this one was It's the Mitchells versus the machines. The Mitchells, the family, and then you got the machines, the robots that are taking over the world. And I was actually so invested in just this family and just watching their dynamic on their little road trip at the start. When the robots showed up, I was actually a bit like, don't really know if I need the robots. And that's what makes this film so good. The characters are actually really good. They do a good job at developing this family and their dynamic. And the robots were really fun once they showed up, but when they do show up at first, you're a bit like, oh, I was actually just having fun with the Mitchells. So I think this film does a great job there. It's an animated film aimed at kids, so when it goes a bit far at the end, it's fine, and it does it really well. It's fun. This film surprised the hell out of me. I really didn't think the Mitchells versus the Machines would be anything special, but you know what? You've done a good job there, Sony. I'm going to give the Mitchells versus the Machines an 8 out of 10. Then we have Things Heard and Not Seen, the new Netflix film starring Amanda Seyfried. And this is one of the worst films I've seen this year, guys. This film was truly awful. So going into it, I didn't know what it was going to be. I was like, well, I'm guessing it's going to be a horror because there is a little bit of paranormal activity. And then it was like a relationship breaking down as like they're sort of just cheating on each other. And then it's like there's the ghost is sort of helping Amanda Seyfried, and then there's a murder, and it's like, what the hell am I watching? This film is so messy. On top of that, the script is diabolical. The acting, from the most part, isn't great. Like, Amanda Seyfried was okay in it, I guess, but everyone else, like the guy in it, I didn't think he was very good. I can't remember his name. Natalie Dyer was in this as well, and I know she can act pretty well, but she just wasn't really doing much either. Things Heard and Not Seen was really bad. Like, a really bad movie. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. Then we have Son of Godzilla. Yeah. I've been warned about this movie. I've been warned about the Son of Godzilla in general. I think they even gave him a bloody name, but I refused to take in any information about him, to be honest, because, my God, if Barney, the big purple dinosaur, took drugs, I think this is what he'd end up like. I'm not going to lie. This character looks truly hideous for a start. Like, hideous. He looks like he's done a serious amount of meth and cocaine. He sounds, ridiculous. His powers as well, like, he even blows like little magic dragon puffs. It's like, what is this? And honestly, every time we were spending time with him, I was just annoyed, because I was like, this is a Godzilla box set. Godzilla is not in this film much. It is all about the Son of Godzilla. I don't care about the Son of Godzilla. This character is truly horrible. Now, this will come to annoy me in the next couple Godzilla films even more, because I got this one is about the Son of Godzilla. This is about baby Godzilla. Fine, let's get through this one and hopefully we'll be on to other things. But no, he keeps coming back, which we'll get to. But this film here, not very good at all. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. This is like the first film in that Godzilla set where I was like, that wasn't good. That was like, even putting myself in the mindset of I'm watching people in costumes, that one wasn't good. Okay, next up, the last David Fincher film I had to watch. So yes, there will be a David Fincher ranking coming at some point. I keep meaning to make it. And that is The Game, starring Michael Douglas. This film was good. I didn't love it as much as others. First off, I want to say the score started off really well, but it done that thing where it just kept playing. I got sick of this piano. Sick of it playing in the background. The story I found a bit tedious. I found it a bit over the top at times. And I think this film really got dragged out. Really did. Now, this is one of David Fincher's first films. So, is it his first? It might even be his first. I'm not entirely sure. It wasn't bad, but I definitely think it could have been better. But there's a lot of good stuff in it. There's a lot of good acting. The script's fantastic. It's a nice looking film. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Then we have new Amazon Prime movie, Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan. This was really, really generically boring. First off, I think the action was just not very well shot. It was very flat, very uninteresting. You've got great action movies coming out nowadays, like the John Wick films, Mission Impossibles are getting better somehow. And this film here was just flat, bland. In terms of characters as well, like something very tragic happens at the start, and a lot of characters just seem to brush it off and be like, right, let's just get on with the movie. It's like, I don't believe these characters anymore, because that's not how you'd react to a huge tragedy like what's just happened. I don't believe you guys. So, yeah, this film was very nah. I just get the impression not many people were trying with this. Like, the acting wasn't even that great. Michael B. Jordan's normally very good, but he didn't really do much in this film. All the side characters were very bland. The score was just meh. Cinematography, there wasn't really much interesting stuff going on. It was very flat. Color palette, I mean, the film just didn't look... It was very bland looking. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. I thought this film was really disappointing. Then we have Nomadland. I finally got to watch this movie. I went to Disney+. This film was absolutely fantastic. Now, I can see why some people would find this film boring. It is very slow-paced. Like, if I showed this to my parents, they wouldn't like it. I can tell you now. So if you don't really like slow-paced films, I'll tell you now this ain't the film for you. However, in terms of character development, this film is incredible. I was so emotionally attached to nearly every single character, even some that only had a couple lines. The cinematography, don't get me wrong, I know Mank had great cinematography, but I think it should have beat it at the Oscars. The cinematography in this film was gorgeous. It looked incredible. I'm so excited to see the Eternals. God damn it. The actors, can't think of her name, lead actress in it. Frances McDormand, she was absolutely incredible in this movie. Absolutely incredible. It's amazing because obviously I've seen her in things like 3 Billboards. The first thing I saw her in, I believe, was Transformers Dark of the Moon. Amazing. That's the first thing I saw her in, because wow, she wasn't good in that movie, really. Here, she's amazing. Amazing. Nomadland was absolutely incredible. It really was a fantastic film. Oh, I'm so excited for the Eternals. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Truly, truly fantastic film. Then we have Destroy All Monsters. Yeah, so Destroy All Monsters was pretty good, I guess. We spent a lot of time on the island Godzilla. This one here, there's not as much Baby Godzilla, I don't think. I think it's the next one where I had more problems with him. See, these two films kind of blur together. Destroy All Monsters and All Monsters Attack. They have sort of blurred together a bit. But Destroy All Monsters was pretty good, if I remember. You know, they're all on an island. You've got a lot of monsters in this one. You've got things like, you've got one of Kong's villains is in this, like the T-Rex looking one. So I found that pretty cool. The spiky turtle from Godzilla Raids Again comes back. I really actually like that one. I can't remember his name. He pops up in a lot of them, actually. There's a lot of cool monsters in this one. I had a good time with it. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Then we have Stalker. Now, I do try to stay up to date with my criterions. The only criterion in my collection I haven't watched at the minute is the last Godzilla film and Roma. I know Roma's meant to be amazing. I'm going to get on it soon. Hopefully for next month's video, we'll be talking about Roma at some point. Also, I have the Before trilogy coming today, so there'll be 3 more later today that I haven't seen. So I do try to stay up to date with my criterions. Stalker was one I hadn't watched. People kept telling me it was amazing. Russian movie from 1970... I want to say 1979. Well done, James. Well done. 1979, got it right. I'd never seen anything like this movie. It was interesting. First off, I want to say visually, it was stunning. I loved it. And I loved the story of this, about these characters going into this isolated area where, you know, there's a room where you can get like a wish. It was something like that. Reminded me a bit of Annihilation, the Natalie Portman movie. Of course, this came out first, so if anything's copying the other, it's Annihilation copying Stalker. Anyway, but I love the idea of that, and the whole look of this movie when they actually got into this area just changed. I thought it was great. Also, I want to say the sound in this movie, I'm not sure really what they'd done. It had a very echoey, loud presence to it, probably because when characters... There wasn't much going on in terms of, like... outside of the dialogue, there really wasn't much to do with the sound effects. I think the creators of this movie, Travosky, had a great time playing around with the sound effects, with just the simple things, like the way these characters sounded, their footsteps, the way they were moving through like the trees and stuff, and the grass. It was great. The set pieces in this film were also fantastic. Yeah, it was a very quiet, very eerie type film, which you got to be in a mood for, but it was really good. I actually have watched this film twice now because I really wanted to take as much of it in as I could because I really wanted to appreciate this film for the filmmaking standpoint, because I know that this is one of the most interesting films ever made in terms of like how it's been pieced together, and it was just fascinating to me. Was it perfect? No. It it is probably a little bit too long. I do need to be in a mood for it, because it took me a week to get back around to rewatching it, because it is a very slow paced movie. Not that that's a bad thing, but sometimes I need to be in a mood for a slow paced movie, and sometimes I need to be in a mood for a fast paced movie. That's the way things go. But Stalker was really, really good. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It was a really solid film. Then I'm going to be a bit controversial, because I know this is quite a well-liked movie. I watched 12 Monkeys for the first time. Yeah. I didn't care for this movie, guys. I really didn't. In terms of like time travel type stuff, I've seen it done better. I've found the acting a bit weak. Yeah, I don't know. I sort of, the film just kept losing me. I sat there really trying to get into it. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. I'm really gonna like it. And I was really trying with this movie. I didn't dislike it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't dislike it. But it's another one of those where I was just really desperately trying to watch it and really enjoy it. And I was just struggling. It wasn't a Donnie Darko, because that film I was really trying with as well. And that was the complete opposite. I just really couldn't get into it at all. So I couldn't get into it. The film just kept losing me. For me, 12 Monkeys was very near. I'm going to give 12 Monkeys I'll give it a 6. So I didn't dislike it. I was just very disappointed. Next up, we have Dazed and Confused. This is a really fun movie which I picked up when I went out on my adventures with Mr. Alex Pitt. I got the Criterion Blu-ray of it. Early 90s film, I think it is. Is it 90s? 93, yeah. Look at that. I'm doing pretty good today. Now, I think this film actually took a lot of influence from another film I'm going to talk about later on, and that is Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I also watched for the first time this month. So, Dazed and Confused, yeah, the thing I love about this movie, first off, is the music. They play a lot of good stuff in this. Bob Dylan's Hurricane plays in this, and for me, it went up like 10 points. Love that song. Anyway, the characters are really fun in this movie. They're having a really good time. And something which I think the director took on board really well was like, what would it have been like to go to one of these high school parties and the build up to get there? And it's great. And I love the feeling of the end of this movie where it's a huge party and there's little things going on all over the place. There's different things going on. It's different people trying to get with different people and stuff. It's really fun, and it sort of reminds me of, like, it feels, because it's set in the 70s, it feels like a 70s version of parties I used to go to after school sometimes, and it's like, wow, this is, it's weird. It's like going in a time machine back to when I was at school, but then putting everyone who was at those parties in a time machine and taking them back to the 70s. It was really, really awesome. So yeah, Dazed and Confused was a really, really good movie. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Then we have Walk the Line. Now, I am a huge Johnny Cash fan. I love Johnny Cash. I'm actually more of a fan of his later stuff. I like the 6 American albums which he released, and 2 of them after he'd passed away. So I'm really a big fan of that sort of stuff. This here obviously focuses on his early life, him falling in love, of course, with I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name. Anyway, how he falls in love with her, who would go on to sing with him, perform with him all the time, right up till only about 4 months before he died, I think is when she passed. Go watch the music video to Hurt, guys. It's a killer. And then, she performs all the time for him. Like, I've got a great 30th anniversary Blu-ray here where people will go out and perform songs for Bob Dylan. Loads of famous people there. And he comes out with his wife, and I think they do It Ain't Me, Babe, I think. Anyway, love Johnny Cash is the point. My biggest criticism of this movie is that I don't think Joaquin Phoenix was a great choice for him. I like Joaquin Phoenix. He's a great actor. Great actor. Fantastic actor, in fact. Joaquin Phoenix is truly amazing, and he gives a great performance here. He isn't acting badly. I just don't think he was acting like Johnny Cash. I don't know. I've seen a lot of interviews with Johnny Cash and stuff over the years, and I don't know, because a lot of this stuff, of course, is about his life outside of the camera. This is his personal life. This is what he was doing behind the scenes, how he was struggling mentally and with his drinking and his drugs, in the early part of his career. So obviously you don't see this stuff. But in interviews and stuff, the way Joaquin Phoenix was playing, it was like, he isn't coming across very Johnny Cashy. I don't know. Anyway, this film was great, though. It was fantastic. The music, of course, was incredible. All of the actors done a brilliant job. Yeah, I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I was tempted to go 8.5. I'm going to stick with an 8. Then we have Samurai 3, Duel at Gamerayu Island. Gamerayu Island? I don't know, guys. I don't know. So this is the third and final installment in the Samurai trilogy. And these three films all sort of blend together. They all sort of feel the same. But they're all very, very good. They're all ahead of their times as far as I'm concerned. Like, the choreography in it was really good. The visuals, the light and the colour palette. Maybe it's just the Blu-ray enhancing it. I don't know, but it looks fantastic. The story to these are really fascinating. And it makes me just want to pick up my Ghost of Tsushima game and just go back to being a samurai. It's great. I love these kind of movies. I don't have loads to say on it because, really, my opinion on all three of them is sort of the same. I have the same sort of things to say about all three of these movies. But it was a really good movie. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 2? That's a bloody good score, isn't it? Next up, I think I'd seen this film when I was a kid, but I can barely remember it, so I'm going to include it because it was more or less like a first-time watch. And this film kind of falls into my sweet spot of animatronic, silly monster horror. I love that kind of stuff. And that is Gremlins 2, The New Batch. This film does not take itself seriously at all, and I love that. There's a talking gremlin in this, like a scientist one. I loved him. Every second he was on screen was brilliant. Gizmo is just adorable. And what do you know, Christopher Lee popped up. I love Christopher Lee, probably in my top 5 actors. So that was a pleasure. Yeah, I really like the cheesy wackiness of this film. Really good fun. And I like how they just took the Gremlins and they were like, you know what, we done a serious movie, now let's just roll with it. We'll make one a mad scientist, we'll have one flying about. You know, they're all doing different things. There's a woman one in this, it's going around kissing people. Yeah, I can imagine that this film would terrify some people, some kids, but it's good fun. I'm going to give Gremlins 2 a 7 out of 10. Then we have All Monsters Attack. Baby Godzilla speaks in this one. Yeah, he's talking, like literally communicating with a human child, and it is truly horrible. First of all, I want to say the monster in this one, the main bad one, it's like this green looking one with brown fur. He looks awesome. He's cool. When he's fighting Godzilla, I'm like, this should have been the whole movie. This is great. When those two are fighting, I'm like, yes. But then Baby Godzilla just comes in and ruins it. And he does this stupid thing, because obviously in this one he's small, he's the human size, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he was bigger in the last two films. When he goes to fight the other monsters, he grows like a Power Ranger villain. I'm like, what the hell is this? This film actually had a lot of potential, I think, but Baby Godzilla straight up ruined this one. And again, he took up most of the screen time. Every second he was on screen, it pulled me out. And it's such a shame, because I love the idea that this kid keeps stumbling across the island. I'm not really sure how. And this island is infested with all these monsters. There's loads of big ones on the island. You know, you got the turtle one again. There's the big spider one about on the island. Mothra's even in the caterpillar mode roaming the island. It's like, there's so much cool stuff you could do here. And we're focusing on Baby Godzilla. It's such a shame that the filmmakers done this. I know that their target audience was younger people and they wanted to try and connect with them. But what made Godzilla special was the whole, these are giant monsters that fight. That's what people want. That's the entertaining part. So this movie I think they got a bit lost in translation, I think is a good way to describe it. I'm going to give this film a 4 out of 10. It's a shame. This film really, really kept pulling me out. Next, though, we have Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Now, Hedorah is an interesting one. This is a very controversial movie. I've seen some people really like it and some people really hate it. This film feels a bit like an acid trip. There's some very weird decisions in this movie. There's a lot of weird musical numbers. The monster itself, Hedorah, is weird. It's like making out of black tarry gunk. It's got weird red eyes that are all out of place. It is a bizarre movie. And I really liked it. I think I was happy just to get away from the island, and because I knew whenever we were on the island, we were just seeing baby Godzilla all the time. So I was happy to get away from that. I was like, yes, we've got Godzilla just versing another monster. And this one isn't just another, oh, here's a dragon. Here's another T-Rex looking thing. Here's a crab. It's like, here's a spider. This one here was unique. It was different to all the others, and I really liked that. I liked the fact that it was this weird tar thing. And it was just getting everywhere. There's a scene where he's going through the city, and there's some people in a nightclub, and then it just all comes down the stairs, and it's like, that's awesome. I'm kind of all about that. Godzilla really struggled to defeat him because he's not like any other monster he's fought before. He can use the same tactics. He actually had to think. And what the hell? I had a really fun time with this movie. I thought Hedorah was actually a great villain. One which I would love to see come to live action. Godzilla vs. Hedorah. I'm going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. This was a really solid Godzilla film. The best one since maybe Godzilla vs. Kong, or King Kong vs. Godzilla. Because I really like the original Godzilla film and the King Kong vs. Godzilla. That's the best one since those two, I think. I really enjoyed this one. Then we have Rear Window, of course, a Mr. Alfred Hitchcock film. And I can say this is my favourite Hitchcock film so far. I really enjoyed the concept of this one. He witnesses a murder, trying to figure out who it is and stuff, confined to his apartment, looking out onto all these other apartments. And the tension at the end was great when the murderer sort of confronted him. It was fantastic. The acting in this film was great. I loved the cinematography, how you were switching from window to window. Hitchcock done a great job here. I really enjoyed the films that I've watched before this from Hitchcock, because I've got the box set, as you know, and I'm going through them in order of that set. But this one here, I think, is where I really, really started to connect with Hitchcock. Where I'm like, this guy, his style was sort of starting to bleed through. And I really, really enjoyed it. Then, weird. This is really weird. The day after I watched this at work, I went on Netflix, saw there was a new Amy Adams film, The Woman in the Window. So I thought, let's watch that. And guys, wow, this is actually a rip-off of Rear Window. The film I just, honest to God, coincidentally watched the night before. It is a complete rip-off of that movie. She's stuck in her house from anxiety, just not wanting to get outside, and traumas of the past. And she witnesses a murder as well, and she sort of has to piece it together. Now, there's a lot of other good actors in this. Julianne Moore's in this. Gary Oldman's in it. Anthony Mackie. It's got a fantastic cast. And Amy Adams is incredible as well. But this film falls flat on its face. First off, the dialogue is garbage. The way it is pieced together feels so forced. It is truly terrible. Story itself is just so bizarre. And it kept making me uninterested. Like, it kept making me go, oh no, she is crazy. But obviously there was a murder, and it's like, the plot is just trying to make me not care. I'm baffled by its decisions. So, yeah, it's a really, really strange movie. I don't have loads to say about it because I didn't particularly like it. I won't be rewatching it. The Woman in the Window can have a 4 out of 10. Then we have Battle Royale. Now, as a lot of you know, I bought the Battle Royale box set, the 4K Arrow video one. This film was absolutely mind-blowing. I think I'd say it might be my favourite foreign movie now. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The Hunger Games, get in the bin. Just completely copied it. First off, I've got to say there are some cheesy bits to it. It's an Arrow video film. There's going to be some cheesiness to it. There's a guy going around with a little Uzi gun, and he's just gunning people down for fun. And then they'd sort of get up, even though they got like 3 bullets in them, try and run away still, and then get gunned down again. It's like, well, you shouldn't be getting up. You've just taken 3 bullets. You're in a lot of pain. So there's some silly stuff in it like that. But this film does a great job at making you aware of all the characters. The gore factor is great. The teacher in it is hilarious. The music, the score is fantastic. The tension in it is great. I love this movie. I think it might be my favourite foreign film. I really, truly just loved it. I'm going to give Battle Royale a 9.5 out of 10. I loved this movie, guys. I absolutely loved it. Then we have a film which I've reviewed in detail here on the channel. Army of the Dead, the new Zack Snyder Netflix film. Now, I regret my review of this because I literally finished the film, come up here and recorded my review. I didn't take time to process the film much. I gave it a 6.5 initially. I've since then thought about the movie, and you know what? I think it's weaker than I first thought. It has a horrible... Zack Snyder put the nightmare effect from Justice League over this entire movie, where it looks very blurry. And it really takes away from the film, because Zack Snyder is normally visually great, and it really takes that aspect away from it. If you really think about the plot, it's so stupid. You know, the guy goes, right, I need you all to go into Vegas, go to my vault, and get in there. But you can only need a safecracker to get in the vault. So, hang on. This is your vault. It's your vault. Just tell them the code. Just tell these people the code. It's your vault. You should know the code. But no, don't worry. Because he doesn't actually want to get in the vault. This is all a distraction. He's got his little army guy who's going in there to get the Queen Zombie's head. Yeah, as soon as they go through the gate, they're met by the Queen Zombie and one other. Take the head then. She's on her right, or she's there with one other zombie. You got the whole team still there. Take the head then. You're right by the gate and get straight out. Easy peasy. The more you think about this film, it is so stupid. Army of the Dead, there are some good bits to it. I found it very predictable, though, I'll say that. I love the scene where they're going through the hallway and all the zombies are asleep. That was good, but yeah, the more you think about this movie, the more you realise it isn't great. It's very predictable who's going to die. I'm going to give Army of the Dead a 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, it's weakening a lot for me the more I think about it, so I try not to think about it too much. Definitely not one of Zack Snyder's bests. And we have Battle Royale Requiem. Yep, I watched the sequel. I was so excited to get on the sequel. It's not very good. It's not. It isn't really a Battle Royale. I hate the teacher in this one. Hate him. There's a scene where you get some bad news, like someone comes up to him and they're like, oh, you know, the kids have turned their necklaces off or whatever. And he's like eating something. He looks up at the camera. He's got food coming out of his mouth. Like, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? What? It kind of takes away from the first film a lot. So I tried to look at the first one as its own, and that's the end of the story, because this film was not good. Nothing interesting happens in this film. Genuinely. They could have done anything with this film. They could have done a Hunger Games where they got the winners back together or something like that. I think they went in the worst possible direction they could have gone in with this film. It's weird because until they get into the Battle Royale, if you even class it as that, it feels very copycatty of the first movie, and then it does a 360 and it's the complete opposite. Such a strange movie. I'm going to give Battle Royale Requiem a 3.5 out of 10. Oh, it's such a drop-off there. Then I finally watched Casablanca. Never seen it before. Finally watched it from 1930... what is it? 30... Oh, 42. Okay, I was a little bit off there. I really did enjoy this film. I like romance films. I think this has done a really good job there. I think the film took a long time to find its feet. I really do. But saying that, this film has a lot of great stuff in it. The script, for a start, is fantastic. I think all the actors are doing a good job. I like the set pieces. Costumes, of course, are, I was going to say they look great, but, it was the 40s, so they were genuinely wearing appropriate costumes, I guess. Yeah, I enjoyed Casablanca. I don't have loads to say about it, to be honest, though. It's, dare I say it, maybe the film has become a little bit overrated. People view it as such this massive classic, and it's a really good film, don't get me wrong, but I can think of older films which are better. But I still really liked it. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Then we have Castle in the Sky. Of course, Studio Ghibli film. Lupita, I think it's called Lupita. It's Castle in the Sky, I think. Over here in the UK, it's just Castle in the Sky, I believe. I think. Could be wrong. What a fantastic movie. Wow, these Studio Ghibli films, other than Earwig and the Witch, blow me away. This one was fantastic. First off, the animation is great. The characters are really good. The concept is fantastic. I love this whole idea of pirates in the sky. It's great. And they're being hunted, of course. There's a lot of great voice acts in this, of course. Mark Hamill is in this. Mark Hamill is great. He's always great. He's one of the best voice actors going. Castle in the Sky was really, really fun. And if you're a Studio Ghibli fan, I think this is one you should definitely check out. It's a really good time. I'm going to give Castle in the Sky a 8 out of 10. Then we have The Phantom. Yeah, some of you might remember me picking that up in one of my recent Blu-ray hunting videos. It looked like my kind of fun. It looked like cheesy 80s. Is it 80s or is it 90s? I think it might be 90s, actually. Hang on. 96, yeah, so the year before I was born. Yeah, it looked like that kind of cheesy fun I'd like, but I want to apologise to people like this, because I do know this film has a bit of a cult following now. So apologies to them people. I get why you like it. It's silly and fun, and I can be like that with some films, like Mortal Kombat 95. Silly and fun. Enjoyed it. This one I didn't enjoy. I thought this film was pretty damn bad. For a start, the acting is horrendous. Like, this villain that you're following right at the start of the film, bloody awful. The actual character, the Phantom, I don't really get it. He's just this Bruce Wayne knockoff. His costume looks ridiculous. This film's hilariously bad. There are just things that are happening all over the place. There are so many coincidences in this film. There's some of the lines as well. There's a line with the female villain where she gets asked, like, oh, how do you know that this guy, you know, is good or something like that, or how he's the Phantom? And it's like, well, I was in the room and he picked this other female over me, so I know that he's an idiot or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching? I'm going to give The Phantom a 2 out of 10. Then we have Godzilla versus Gigant. So Godzilla versus Gigant. I gotta sort of put myself in the mindset here of which one that was. So Godzilla versus Gigant. Yeah, this was that he was kind of cool to see Ghidorah come back, and Gigant, of course, was this other out of space big epic monster. I think they were trying to create another Ghidorah, like, oh, he comes from space. He's this epic monster. The problem is that he come into the movie with Ghidorah, which is really weird why it's called Godzilla versus Gigant, even though it was more or less Godzilla and the weird turtle thing with the spikes on his back versus Gigant and Ghidorah. It was really like there was 4 monsters in this movie, so it's really weird that they went with Godzilla versus Gigant as the title. Anyway, because Ghidorah shares the same amount of screen time as Gigant, and Ghidorah is just so much cooler. Like, I love Ghidorah. Three-headed dragon that shoots lasers, yeah. Gigant looked a bit like a Power Rangers villain. He had these 2 claws for hands, which he kept scraping away at. It was... Anyway, saying that though, I did have a lot of fun with this movie. These 4 monsters were just going at it for ages, just fighting for ages, and it was super fun. It was actually one of the better monster movies, I think. So yeah, I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Then I watched for the first time A Nightmare on Elm Street. I did it. I watched this film for the first time. As you guys know, I bought that set. I'm going to watch them all. But A Nightmare on Elm Street was absolutely fantastic. It genuinely creeped me out at times. For a film as old as it is, and with the cheesiness of the villain that's there, it done a really good job at being scary. Yeah, there was some rocky acting in it, but, you know, that's kind of suits these films, I think. Freddy looked fantastic. The makeup on him was great. I love the idea that he comes through your dreams to get you. I thought that was really awesome. And the way they shot this movie was fantastic. Like, the tension being built, like when Freddy went across the road to get her neighbour and stuff, was great. Some of the goriness to this was fantastic. And I like the ending, how it's a bit open to interpretation. I thought that was really great. I'm going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street an 8 out of 10. Then I watched Dinosaur. Yeah, I've never seen this movie. What a weird film. What a really, really bizarre movie. I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest. The effects have not aged well for a start. Not well at all. I think the voice acting for the most part wasn't great either. And the story could have been so much more interesting. Found it quite cheesy. Yeah. I you know, the thing is, I try to put my mindset in as the target audience is aimed at. It's aimed at kids. However, it's still not a great kids film. If I was going to put a dinosaur film on for kids, I'd make them watch anything like The Land Before Time, something like that. or even like Pixar's The Good Dinosaur. Even though I don't think that's a great film, I think it's better than this. Yeah, I'll give this film a 5. I'll be kind. I'll just go straight down the middle. 5 out of 10. It's not aimed at me. Try and take it for what it is. But there's better dinosaur things out there. Then I watched for the first time ever Pretty Woman. Yeah, that's right. I'd never seen Pretty Woman before. About a week ago. Wow. Wow, this film was so good. For a start, the music was great, obviously. I love this story. I always thought it was just going to be a simple romance film. I didn't realise that Pretty Woman, or the woman in it, was a hooker. I thought that was very... It caught me off guard straight away. I love the story of this. I love it when she's going into these really posh places near the start of the movie when she's still looking a little bit rough. And these people were just very hesitant to have any sort of contact with her. I thought that was really great. And yeah, I thought the dynamics of her and the guy in it, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, I thought their relationship was great. I thought this was just a really pleasant film, a really fun time. It's one I'd like to pick up on Blu-ray. If they do a 4K, I'll probably buy it. And it's one I'll definitely be re-watching at some point in the future. I had a really good time with it. I'm going to give Pretty Woman a 8.5 out of 10. Really solid movie. Then I watched Fast Times at Richmond High. It is Richmond, isn't it? I have to check here. Yeah. I think I might have said Bridgemont earlier on in the video. Now, this film here, of course, came out in 1982. So it has a few years on Dazed and Confused. And I think it did heavily influence Dazed and Confused. I think Dazed and Confused is the better film out of the two. But this film's still great. There's a lot of great music in it. And I like a lot of the characters, even though their motivations aren't great. Like, at the end of the film, I don't think many of them have learned from their lessons. It's like, this guy's been trying to kiss up with this girl, and she sort of ditched him when he'd slept with his mate. But then at the end of the film, he's still sucking up to her a bit. It's like, she slept with your mate. And then he's also friends with his mate again at the end of the movie. I'm like, why? Why? The best bit about this, I thought, was Sean Penn's character, who cracked me up. It's a typical, like, American guy who's trying to be very cool and hip. He's very relaxed. It seems like he smokes a lot of weed. You know, he's like, hey, bro, yo. It's like very, like, almost Hawaiian surfer type attitude. His relationship with the teacher was great. It cracked me up. It really, really killed me sometimes. Really funny. So, yeah. And I did like the way the film ended, you know, with him going to the party and stuff. That seemed like a lot of fun. I just think that the character motivations weren't great. But anyway, it was a really good time still. I'm going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. Then we have House 4. Whew, House 4, okay. So this one here, people actually seem to like more than the third one. I prefer the third one, sorry. Nearly 50 minutes, guys. Sorry, my voice is going now. House 4, I thought was actually quite boring. I didn't like the way it treated some characters from previous movies. I was just like, oh, okay, he would have been a more interesting lead. But no, we're going to go with the wife instead. Yeah, and I just didn't find it that creepy. I found it a bit boring. And it didn't really explain much. Like, I thought the house was just on a normal sort of street. And then in this one, it's like in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, where does the guy from the last movie fit into this? I'm very confused with how all this links up now. I know I really shouldn't look into it that much. It's a cheesy horror 80s movie. But yeah, I found this one just a bit like, ugh, I just didn't really care for it. I'm going to give this film a 5 out of 10. Then I watched The Devil Wears Prada. Yeah, I know that this is meant to be a bit of a girly film, but I was like, you know what? I've seen this poster so much, I really just want to watch this movie. I want to just say I've been able to see it. And I had a really good time with it. Meryl Streep was fantastic in it. Emily Blunt was really, really funny in it. Anne Hathaway she's always pretty good. I really enjoyed this story, and I find it kind of relatable. I've worked for people in the past who can be very stubborn like that. Get me this, do that. And it's like, oh, okay, all right, quick. So I can actually kind of relate to it a little bit like that. I found it really interesting how she went from being so nervous to so confident, and the film actually showed that development really well. It's a pretty simple film, but it's just a lot of fun. I'm going to give The Devil Wears Prada an 8 out of 10. Then I rewatched this month as well Bad Neighbours with my friend Luke, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want some more Zac Efron comedy. He really does make me laugh. And I found this on Disney Plus. Mike and Dave need wedding dates. Yeah, so Mike and Dave need wedding dates. This film wasn't great. The concept of it was really silly. They're told because they cause mayhem all the time that they need to get dates for their sister's wedding, and then they go on some TV program and announce it, and these two women sort of just show up and force their way into to go to the wedding. I found it really interesting that, like, Zac Efron didn't look like he wanted to be in this movie. The other guy in this movie, who I've seen in Modern Family, I think, was so over the top. He was so unlikable. His character really annoyed me. So the terms of, like, the two main actors, one just didn't look like I wanted to be there, and the other one was just too much. It was complete polar opposites. There weren't many jokes that were very funny. I found a lot of it just very predictable. Yeah, Mike and Dave need wedding dates. I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 10 to it. I didn't think this was very good. Then we have Cruella, which I've literally just reviewed here on the channel, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'll say this. I'm going to be very quick on this one. Disney, you surprised the hell out of me. I didn't think this film would be very good, and it was great. Emma Stone was fantastic. The costumes of the sets and the makeup was great. Yeah, it was just all around a really, really good film. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Then Free Left. My voice is nearly dead, so I'm going to probably breeze through these three. And then I'm going to do something a bit special at the end. Godzilla versus Megalon. This film was interesting. There was like again, I keep going back to Power Rangers, and these films really do remind me of Power Rangers a bit. There was like a little robot guy that sort of was leading Godzilla places, and it was like, I'm a bit confused here. Megalon was interesting. It brought back Gigant from the last movie as well. And it was like this huge epic fight that went down. And it was like, yeah, I do like this. I'm just not a fan of the robot. But it felt epic. It felt big and bold. So yeah, I'm going to give this film, give it a 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Then we have Signs, an M. Night Shyamalan movie, which I'd never seen before. First off, I want to say I don't think I'm as big of an M. Night Shyamalan fan as others. I think this film actually had some really rocky dialogue, and like it felt very awkward. Like the way the kids were talking didn't feel realistic. It's like these kids wouldn't be talking like this at their age. I don't believe it, especially the boy. But anyway, I still found this film very fascinating. It felt very interesting. It held my attention. I found the direction it was going in really cool. And yeah, I'm quite excited to check out some of M. Night Shyamalan's other early films, which I haven't seen. So I haven't really seen many of his early films, so I'm definitely trying to jump on that and, you know, get them all watched. Science was a good time still. I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10. Probably not as high as some people I know, but I still did really enjoy it. And the last film up. I have to talk about, because I'm dying to go get a drink, is Godzilla versus Mecca Godzilla. Finally, I've seen Mecha Godzilla in the classics here. I really liked how they started, actually, how he was sort of disguised as Godzilla. He didn't look like a robot, because I was very confused why he was fighting his little turtle mate. And I got really upset for a minute. I was like, oh no, don't kill the turtle. When he like gets his mouth, he's ripping it open. The turtle one survives. I was like, whew. I would have been really upset if we'd gone through all nearly 15 of these movies. I think that's how many's in there. And the turtle one, you know, he came into it, the second one, raids again. I was going to be really upset if he died at the end. I was kind of rooting for him to survive this whole thing. He's still alive. He's still alive at the minute, unless he dies in the last one. If he does die in the last one, and people don't know, they're probably sitting at their laptop screens right now going... But anyway... yeah, it was a really fun time, this one. You got this other monster that comes out this huge cave, which looks awesome. He sort of teams up with Godzilla to fight Mecca, and it was really badass, really cool. I thought it was really fun how Godzilla had to get help again to fight Mecca, because Mecca is just, he is Godzilla, but with the abilities to beat him. I thought Mecha Godzilla actually looked really cool. I thought he might look a bit cheesy in this old one, but he looked really awesome as well. I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 10. It's funny, a lot of these Godzilla films, these last couple seem to all got the same sort of score, and I sort of do feel the same about all of the later 3 or 4 that I've watched. It's just that middle part where they're on the island with the son of Godzilla. Really weren't a fan of those 3 movies too much. They're the 3 that really dipped for me, but this franchise sort of found its feet again, and it's climbing back up. But anyway, there's all the films I watched throughout the month of May 2021. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit more interesting here. I am going to pick a film of the month. I'm going to do this every time I do one of these videos now. I'm going to talk about my favourite film that I watched this month. And you might be able to predict it through the scores and stuff, but sometimes I might go a bit different. I might pick one with a lower score, because even though I might say, oh, that's a better made film, it deserves a higher score, I actually have more fun with this film. But today I actually am going to go with the one that got the highest score, because I genuinely can't stop thinking about this movie. And that is, my film of the month is going to go to Battle Royale. Wow, you know, guys, if you haven't seen this film, I highly recommend it. It is very similar to The Hunger Games, but it comes first and it does everything so much better. I love the way that this film comes across, as in, like, it has, like, when a character dies, it goes like, right, boy 10, he was the 30, he was like the second to die or whatever, you know, 42 people left, blah, blah, blah. It's really good. On first watch, this film is incredible. Even second watch, I was still highly entertained, but first watch, it is like, you're just, wow, how is this going to end? Who's going to die next? You feel so connected to nearly all of these kids, which is incredible because there's 42 of them. But anyway, yeah, my film of the month is going to go to Battle Royale. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a long one. I hope you have enjoyed it as best you can. And I look forward to seeing you all next time for another video. Bye-bye.